Before I run off to watch season 6 of Race to the Edge, I realized that I haven't done a 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle episode in like 1,000 years. So, or review? Yeah, review. So, and I did do a review actually. It was a drunk review. And I went back and I was like, ooh, yeah, Drunk Golden Sound Twice has some good points here, but she's also poked herself in the eye by accident and spilled alcohol everywhere. So we're not going to post that up. It was a hot mess. So I was asked to talk about villains and also like talk about the characters of like the entire series. So I'm going to talk about villains today. I'm going to talk about my favorite villain of the entire series, and that is Stockman. I love Stockman because he is so egotistical. It is phenomenal to me. Normally, when I interact or like come across or encounter an egotistical, either be it a human being or like an actual human in real life or a character that's that egotistical, I go the other way. I'm like, ooh, yeah, no, I do not have time to see you fall in love with yourself. I've got things to do. I'm going to go that way. Bye. But for some reason, for Stockman, I can't get enough of it. And I think that there are so much deeper elements going on there with Stockman that we didn't even get to see. Like we find out in season 4, as he's like dying, he's hallucinating because he tried to transfer his body, like his brain, into a different body, and it's being rejected. And so his body is literally deteriorating along with his mind, and we get to see his background. And so, life is very hard for him. He was growing up in the 1970s. His mother was either widowed or she was single the entire time, but she's working probably like 2 to 3 jobs just to support him and doesn't have the opportunity to always like physically be there, but that her love is more than enough for him. And she goes out and buys him science kits, and it is so heart-wrenching, and to also realize what time era they're in and the difficulties that they have being just born who they are. And it was just, that he had to encounter racism, that she had to encounter racism, but she was such a warm-hearted, kind person. And you saw young Baxter Stockman having that kindness. He was going to dump acid on a beetle, and then his gift from his mother made him let the beetle go. There was symbolism there where at one point in time he was a kind and considerate and caring person, but she died. She overworked herself, aged herself so quickly trying to provide for her son, and he was relatively young, like 13, 14, and he was so intelligent. And again, we don't know if there was other relatives to take him in. He probably was either homeless or was on the street, and we know that he probably worked himself up, ground up, and he's so intelligent, but again, there are those struggles there. And so we don't know how he came to be with the foot. Was it before he was a famous scientist? Was he working for them all along? Was it after? We don't know what happened, but something happened that made him become cold, made him become purely logical and scientific. And I think that egomania, that egotistical side of him, I think it's his way of like, his mother's love, it looks like that was the only love he ever knew. And when she was gone, children pick up habits to try to comfort themselves in the absence of their parents or somebody that they really love and care about. So I've always wondered, is that extra, that ego of his, is that like some sort of psychological way of like, I'm trying to find words to explain this, where it's like, is it something that he does, like he overcompensates on his ego, he overcompensates, like he's like, yes, I'm brilliant, and he verbalizes it. Is that a way to like mentally, subconsciously, I know there has to be a word for this, where like he's trying to express his mother's love for him and how she thought he was brilliant and different things like that. but because she's not around to do it, that he's doing it for her. Like, there must have been some sort of psychological thing going on there. Like, he's verbalizing how wonderful he is as a sort of self-reassurance that his mother would have done. Like once I watched that episode, he became this whole other character to me, where at first he was just this extremely intelligent man whose downfall was his ego. And then when I saw that episode, I was like, there's so much more going on there, and I would have loved to learn more if we had been given that opportunity. But I think what kills me is that, like, he is so extra. Like, he's like he's so brilliant. He is so brilliant. His downfall is his ego, and I love it. Like he is this intelligent person. He really is. He's not just the talk. He's got the show for the talk. But given who he's working for, every time he messes up, especially every time he goes bragging about himself, body parts end up missing until he's a brain in a jar. And you'd think that for as an intelligent of a person as he is, there would have been a click. There would have been a connection that was like, if I quit talking, if I stop bragging about myself, if I perhaps am silent, I will not lose another body limb. No! That's never once does it cross his mind like, oh, that hurt. I lost an eyeball. Don't want to do that again. Well, let's just be silent. Let's not brag. Let's keep working. I get to live, and then eventually maybe extract myself from this insane process, this insane organization. No, never once. Never once. No. And I realized that ego, like that portrayal of a villain, same thing with Shredder, most of the time is so corny and hokey. It's just like, ooh, why? But see, that's the thing though, is that both of them, both the Shredder and both Baxter Stockman are just so arrogant. Like, there is this arrogance that they have, where they're like, I am the best there is. And it just, any other villain, I think it would just like frustrate me, but for some reason with those two, I'm just like, I can't believe how arrogant you are. This is fabulous. Let's see how this messes you up. Like, it's their downfall, their arrogance, and their egos are their downfalls. It's the greatest thing ever. Like, oh man. And I have to say, 2003 Baxter Stockman is my favorite. He's so tortured. Oh my word. Like, so physically tortured. It's like, honey, you could have a better life if A, you do nothing with this organization, run away, which he wouldn't be able to, but I mean, we can still hope and dream. But B, it's just like, bruh, dude, just shut your lip. Just shut it. Just don't talk, and you will not lose an appendage. Don't make promises you can't keep. You are against the Ninja Turtles, you're gonna lose. Why? It is because they are the ones that have the title in the show. Therefore, they're gonna win. You're not gonna. I love it. I love it so much. And like, another reason why he's my favorite is because despite how full of himself he is, he actually comes up with amazing tech. The entire show, you watch him do things and you're like, give him a prize. He's a horrible human being, but he's smart. Yeah. Whereas, like, the old comic books, it's been so long since I've read them, but I know that he, like, in the original series, I believe he ended up dying in an explosion that he made himself. Hello, your startup disk is almost full. Well, that's not good. What does that mean? That computer's sending me messages. So, very quickly. The 1980s TV show, I did not like him because he was whiny. He was that terrible fly. He couldn't do anything. And he was the wrong ethnicity? What was that all about? Anyway. And then in the 2012 series, he was all of those things again, except for he was the right ethnicity this time. And it was just like, huh? Ew. Like when I first watched the 2012 series and Baxter Stockman came out and he was this whiny, pathetic person, I was just like, but he still had the ego of 2003 Stockman, but like with 1980s pathetic Stockman, and I was just like, what did they do to you? So 2003 is my favorite. Oh, and the Baxter Stockman played by Tyler Perry in the 2016 movie, I liked him too. Mainly because it was Tyler Perry. And I was just like, ah! Or Tyler Perry, Terry Perry. Oh! I'm getting my actors mixed up. That's a problem. Anyway, I got thrown off by my computer being like, warning, I'm gonna die. And me being like, no, don't die on me. Anywho. Oh, wow, this went really long. So, I love Baxter Stockman. My favorite villain of the entire series. And I will continue talking about other villains, such as the Shredder, and Hun, and Karai, who's more of like, she goes back and forth between being a villain and being like, you know, a anti-hero, and like, she just is all over the place, and I love her. But anyway, so, that's my thoughts. The Glow Sun Twice out. Bye!